my lovely listeners, and welcome back to Teachers' Voices, the podcast where we share your stories from the front lines of education. Whether you're a teacher, a teaching assistant, a midday supervisor, or that parent helper still picking glitter out of your hair after Art Week, this is your space. A space to feel heard, seen, and maybe even have a little laugh along the way. I'm your host, and with over 20 years in education, teaching across key stages, leading teams, mentoring staff, and most importantly, listening. I know just how much heart and humour it takes to do what you do, and that's what this podcast is all about. Listening to you. Now, today's episode is one that I know will hit home for so many of you. It's about those moments when your job title doesn't quite match what you're being asked to do. You know what I mean? When the lines blur, the expectations pile up, and suddenly you're not just juggling balls, you're juggling flaming torches, blindfolded. This week, we've got a heartfelt message from a primary school TA who's found themselves navigating exactly that. They wrote in to share their story, so let's dive in. This is a message that we received from the teaching assistant. Hi there, I'm a TA in a primary school, originally brought in to support Year 3 children, particularly a few with EHCPs and additional needs. I love my job, and I'm really passionate about making sure those pupils feel safe, understood, and able to learn. But lately, I've barely been in my support role at all. Over the last few weeks, actually months, I've been covering whole classes because there's been no supply available and staff sickness is through the roof. It started with 1 or 2 afternoons here and there, but now I'm doing full days. I've even had to cover reception twice, and I've never worked the foundation stage before. I was handed the class teddy and told, good luck. No plans, no extra pay. And I've still got the expectations of my normal TA role hanging over me, including interventions and observations I'm supposed to be doing. I just feel completely stuck. I'm trying to do right by the children, but I'm exhausted. It feels like I'm being pulled in every direction. Is this just how things are now, or should I be pushing back? I really don't want to let anyone down, but I'm exhausted. Wow. And I know it'll resonate with so many of you listening right now. First of all, to the TA who wrote in, thank you. Thank you for sharing this and for being so honest and open about how you're feeling. And believe me, you are not alone. I've been hearing this story more and more lately, teaching assistants being asked, or let's be real, expected to step in and hold the fort. And the thing is, most TAs do it. Why? Because you care. You care about the kids, the staff, the school. You want to help. That's just who you are. But, and here's the hard truth, caring doesn't mean being taken advantage of. Let's break this down. Your job title is teaching assistant, not teacher. You weren't given the training, the prep time, or the pay of a qualified classroom teacher. And yet here you are, running a reception class solo. That's not just stressful. It can be unsafe, unfair, and frankly, legally questionable. Here's what should be happening. TAs can absolutely step in to support learning, but leading whole lessons, especially regularly, is something that should be covered by a qualified teacher or appropriate supply staff. If a TA is covering that often, there should be clear boundaries, proper guidance, and some form of recognition. That could mean extra pay, time in lieu, or at the very least, a proper briefing. The danger here is that it becomes the norm, that it's expected, not appreciated. And when that happens, people burn out, they leave, and we lose the very people who are holding our schools together. So what can you actually do about it? Here are a few thoughts based on my own experience and the stories I've heard from others. 1. Document everything. Keep a simple log of when you're covering classes, what year group, and whether you had plans. This isn't about being sneaky, it's about being prepared. If you ever need to raise this formally, having those details will make all the difference. 2. Speak to leadership. 3. If you're in a union, and if you're not, I strongly recommend joining one, give them a call. They'll let you know exactly where you stand and can support you in having those conversations with leadership. 4. Set gentle boundaries. I know this one's tough, especially when you care so much, but it's okay to say, I can cover in an emergency, but I need some guidance and support when I do. Or, I'm happy to help today, but I need time to catch up on my support work tomorrow. To the TA who wrote in, you're doing an incredible job under enormous pressure. You're holding more than your fair share, and I hope your school sees that. But please remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Support staff deserve support too. And to everyone listening, if you've been in this situation, I'd love to hear from you. How have you handled it? What's worked? What hasn't? Let's get the conversation going. You can email us or send a voice note at diamondeducationhub.co.uk. We'll be back next week with another real story from another real classroom. Until then, take care of yourselves, speak up when you need to, and as always, don't laminate anything after 5 p.m.